Hello, Puppy and Coaching family. I hope everyone is having a fantastic weekend. We are at Thanksgiving week. So, what that means is lots of family time, some time off work, most likely, and lots of temptations. And so, tonight we're really going to talk about accountability, right? Because you can always count on accountability. And what that means is plan for when you're going to enjoy yourself, right? You shouldn't be miserable at the Thanksgiving table. But also, it's one meal. So maybe you every year look forward to leftovers from Thanksgiving. Then great. Plan one meal to have leftovers too. So look at that. That's two meals out of the entire week that we can count on Thanksgiving to maybe derail us from the plan. But if we work it into our plan, remember, it's still on plan. Okay. So, as we talk about accountability, I want to kind of go up the ladder of accountability. All right. We learned about this in one of my leadership groups the other day, and I thought it really captured things so nicely. And so I want to talk about that. But before we get into that, I want us to kind of go back to the what we eat, what we think, and what we do. So, our three pillars that really make or break our accountability patterns, right? So, you've got the what we eat, what we think, what we do. When all three of those are working together, that's when we're making the most progress toward our goals. Well, what do they have to work together to do? Right? We have to look at our 7-step signature system and apply it to all three of those categories. So that's the opting in, that's getting the education. When we know better, we do better. That's accountability, tracking, behavior modification, tracking your wins, and giving back. That's the 7-step signature system. Very simple, easy to do, but also easy not to do. And that's kind of the concept of life, right? Things are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. And so when you think about it, really think about how you're going to show up for yourself during this holiday season. And maybe that means giving yourself a little bit more grace than you normally would. Or maybe that means, hey, I'm going to stop making excuses, because there's a difference between giving yourself grace and making excuses. So as we dive into the accountability ladder tonight, I want you to write this down. Okay. So I'm going to give you the different layers of accountability, or the different rungs of the ladder, if you will. Okay. So take notes on this, and I want you to kind of see where you are at when it comes to the three pillars, because you could be on a different rung on the different parts of what we eat, what we think, and what we do. Like for me, I know I'm not top tier on the what I eat right now. I know that. I'm pretty good, but it's not perfect. But right now, it doesn't have to be. Okay, because my numbers are still good. Everything's great. I could probably just tighten it up a little bit. And I need to make sure I'm adding some extra accountability around the holidays, because again, the temptations are going to be there, all of that good stuff, right? So when we talk about the accountability ladder, okay, the first one is we're just unaware. Totally unaware. So write this down, and you can even start at the bottom and go up if you want to as you're writing it down, or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? But the first rung of the ladder is unaware. I'm going to tell you, none of us here are on that rung. So that's great news. You can definitely say you're not there, because guess what? You're showing up here. You're watching this class. You're looking to get better. So you know you're not on that rung, but you are not unaware that you need some accountability in whatever area you're in. Okay, so that's the first one. The second rung is you're blaming others or a circumstance. Now, I would bet some of us are probably on this rung. You're blaming others or a circumstance. The third rung, personal excuses. And the really bad C word, can't. That shouldn't be in your vocabulary. You've all heard my story of my pitching coach when I was 9 years old making me do push-ups if I said that word. I feel like I should go do push-ups now because I just said it, right? But that's the third rung. I can't do it because, right? Maybe it's a mixture of the second and third rung in some of the categories for us, right? I can't do it. Now, there's a difference between you're not able to do something physically and it's I'm working toward it, right? Like I can't run a 5-minute mile right now, right? That's not physically possible. And if that were a goal of mine, I'm not living at that I can't. It's I'm working toward it. So that's different. So just because you can't do something that you're working toward doesn't mean that you're stuck on that rung. It's the I can't and I'm never going to be able to. That's where you get stuck on that rung. Okay. The next one is the wait and hope. That's the I'm going to script about it, but not change anything, not implement step 5 of the 7-step signature system, behavior modification. I'm just going to wait and hope it happens. This is where a lot of us get stuck. Because in the what we think, we talk so much about scripting and writing things as if they've already happened. And we think maybe it'll happen. But guess what? If you don't change your actions, it's not going to happen. Right? That scripting is changing and shaping your subconscious mind so that you subconsciously are able to make the better choices, modify the behaviors that move you closer towards your goals. It's the subconscious, no, thank you. I don't want an extra piece of pie. No, thank you. I'm not going to eat leftovers for 4 days. It's the no, thank you. I'm not taking the rest of that pie home. Somebody else can take it. Okay. The wait and hope, we're giving ourselves a false sense of hope at that point. Okay. So those are all below the line. So you can draw a line after the wait and hope. Okay. You can draw a line. Because where we really start to see change in accountability is this next step where we acknowledge reality. We've now acknowledged, hey, something has to change, right? So we're not that unaware. We're very aware, but we're also no longer blaming. We're no longer waiting and hoping, and we're no longer saying, I can't. We are very aware. We're acknowledging, I have to do something. I have to make some changes. And it's up to me. And I think we talked about this last week, but no one can make changes for you. You have to be the one that wants to change. And you have to be the one to do the actions that are going to lead to that change. As much as I wish, no one can go to the gym for me and then me get stronger. No one can go and do my cardio for me as much as I wish they could, because I don't particularly enjoy cardio. No one can wake up at 3:00 in the morning for me. No one can get enough sleep for me. Now, you better believe if someone can do something for me that's going to make my life a little easier, that's going to save me time and money so that I can implement some behavior changes and I can implement some different action steps that are going to move me toward my goals, I'm absolutely doing that. Right? Some of you know I go to the hair salon once a week. I get my hair done by my hairdresser once a week. Why do I do that? Because it saves me time. And it also allows me to show up professionally in my life with a professional hair style, right? But it saves me time. I am no longer having to do an extra hour in the morning to get my hair done, right? I don't have to do that myself. It saves me time, which then I can take that time and put it into my business. That's valuable for me. So it's worth it, right? Cleaning my house. Somebody else can do that, right? Some people love to clean. I have a really good friend of mine that loves to clean, brings her joy. Well, don't take that joy away from her. It doesn't bring me joy, right? Some of you don't like to cook. Hire meal prep. Now be careful with the meal prep you hire, right? Make sure that it's, stuff that's on plan, but do that. That might be helpful. Okay. So when you think about that, okay, you are acknowledging reality. The next step is owning it. So the acknowledge reality is that opt-in, which each one of you have the opt-in. You may not live at that. Sometimes you might fall a little below the line, right, with some of yours, but some of you may be staying at that opt-in level, right, which is that acknowledging reality. And then you have to own it. You have to say, listen, nobody is going to change this. No one is responsible for changing my circumstance except for me. And you owe it to yourself to do that. You owe it to yourself to get whatever it is you want. And it doesn't matter what it is that you want, right? And it doesn't matter why you want it. You should know why you want it, right? Because that allows us to stay a little more focused, right? So we talk a lot about knowing our why, but it doesn't matter why, right? Maybe it is that you do want to look good on the beach, right? Maybe it is that you've got an event that you're preparing for, right? I'm working hard. I'm going to be preparing for a big speech that I'm going to have to give in the next couple of months. And so it's important to me to dial in so that I look my best when I'm going to give that speech, right? Because it'll be in front of probably a couple thousand people. So it's important that I get it right. Okay, these are the things you have to own it. You have to say, nobody's coming to save me. No one is making these decisions for me. I have to be the one to put the ice cream back in the freezer. I have to be the one to say no to the extra piece of pie, if that's what's in line with your goals. I'll never forget, I had a friend over at my house and she was getting some ice out of my freezer. And she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, I can't believe you have ice cream in your freezer. And this was summertime. And I was like, oh, that's been in there since last Thanksgiving. She's like, how can you do that? I said, well, I just don't even think about it, right? It just doesn't even faze me. Not on my radar. Now, have there been times where there's no way I could have had ice cream in my freezer without it getting eaten? 100%. Absolutely. But at that time, I'll never forget her saying, I don't know how you do that. But it was simple because I was owning it at that time. And I knew that wasn't going to move me toward my goals. The next step of accountability is finding a solution. The great part about what we eat, the solution is follow the plan. And that might be a crappy thing to hear sometimes, right? But when we follow the plan, it works. When we're eating what's on plan, it's when we try to get fancy with it and try to doctor things up and try to slide things in and say, well, this, kind of could work. No, it's either on plan or it's not. If it's not on plan and you're not making the progress that you want to make, well, guess what? Reevaluate, figure out what's on plan and eat that. Right? I've been guilty of that, saying, well, this could be on plan, if I kind of justify it a little bit. No, that's denial. That's below that accountability ladder, right? We've all been there. We've all been there. We have to own it. We have to look at it and say, is this on plan? Yes or no? No. Okay. Not eating it. Right? Is it in my program to skip my workout today? No. Well, then guess what? I'm not skipping it. Is it a programmed rest day? Yes. Okay, cool. I'm just going to do some active recovery, maybe some stretching, yoga, whatever. Right? But is my program to go and do a workout today? Yes. Okay, well, then my butt better get to the gym. And I better not have an excuse. I better not hit snooze 10 times. Right? That's where you get to the own it and the finding solutions and the last rung, the make it happen. You have to make it happen. Okay, so when we're looking at finding solutions, remember we talked about when we're changing our habits, our new habit has to be easier to accomplish than our old habit. If it's too hard, we're not going to do it and we're going to fall back into our old habits. So what does that mean? If you have a problem with hitting snooze, put your phone or your alarm, whatever you use for your alarm, put it where you can't reach it. That might sound silly, but guess what? You got to get out of bed to get it. I'm going to tell you, I fight with myself some mornings, right? Some mornings I do fight with myself to get up. And there were 2 mornings in a row last week. I usually don't have 2 in a row, but there were 2 in a row last week where I had to say, get yourself out of bed. This is ridiculous. Stop it. Right? That was me owning it. And that was me finding a solution. I had to give myself a little not so nice pep talk, but then I made it happen. Right? We've all been there. And you have to recognize what is it that you need, right? And find things that are going to give you what you need. So there are sometimes I need a little bit of a reality check, especially when it comes to business, right? And accountability when it comes to building my business. And so I've found some YouTube speakers that really keep me accountable when it comes to business, right? It's no nonsense. But then sometimes I need something that's a little bit more uplifting, right? And a little more encouraging. And so then I have YouTube videos for that, right? So you have to recognize where you are particularly at. And that's in that finding solutions. So let's say you've figured out that, hey, after work, I continue to make excuses on why I can't get my workout in. Well, find a solution and find a way to do it before you go to work so that you don't have that excuse anymore. Right? So find those solutions. Maybe it's you have a really hard time getting your meal prep done. Well, then schedule 15 to 30-minute time blocks where you say, okay, in this 15 minutes, I'm going to cut all my vegetables and then I'm going to go do something else because you can't stand there for an hour to an hour and a half, right? So cut it down, figure out how long it takes and do it in 15-minute increments. I'm going to cut all my vegetables up at this time. Okay, then I'm going to go do something else. Then I'm going to come back in 15 more minutes. I'm going to cook my chicken. It takes a little longer than 15 minutes to cook, but you get my point, right? Break it down to where it's a little bit more manageable. I do that when I do have to clean my own house, because I do clean it sometimes. I'll say, okay, I'm going to get this room done today. I'm just going to do this room. Make sure this room is where I want it to be. All right, straighten it up. Okay, great. And you feel better. right? Have the concept of leave something a little bit better than what you walked into it, right? So leave your meal plan a little bit better than what you walked into it. That's that 1% better. And then before you know it, you've compounded all of these little successes and you are off to massive progress. So that's that accountability ladder. I'm going to go through the rungs one more time. And I want you to kind of see, I want you to write out what I eat, what I think, what I do. Write that next to the rung that you think you're on with that. And then I need you to figure out how you're going to move to that next rung. Okay. So the first one is unaware. Like I said, I don't believe anyone is unaware of where they're at, right? Because you're here. Okay. The next one, blaming others or circumstance. The next one, personal excuses, the I can'ts. The next one, wait and hope. Next one, acknowledge reality. Next one, own it. The next one, find solutions. And the last one is you're making it happen. I'm going to tell you where I'm at with some of mine right now is acknowledging reality. And then in some of mine, I'm in the making it happen phase, right? So you can quickly go from acknowledging reality to making it happen, right? In a matter of a day, you can make that. You can do that. You can go all the way from unaware to making it happen in a day too. So that's the beauty of this accountability ladder is you can go to making it happen with one decision. You just have to draw a line in the sand and make that decision. All right. So let that be today. Let that be right now. You are drawing that line in the sand. You're making the decision to make it happen for whatever your goals are. And so I want you to put this date on your calendar. We're going to be back here next Sunday. That's going to be, I think that's November 30th, isn't it? Yes, that's November 30th. And we'll be back here on December 7th. But on December 14th, so jot this down, okay? December 14th, one of my business mentors is actually hosting an entire goal setting workshop. So we're going to be plugging into that instead of here. And that's going to be at a special time. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern on that Sunday, December 14th. And I will send out the links to anyone that wants it. So please message me separately if you want the link to that. I'm excited for that. That's going to allow us to really refresh. So these next 2 weeks coming up, we're going to talk about, now we've talked about accountability. We've acknowledged where we want to be. We've set our goals. We've drawn our line in the sand. Now we're going to talk about setting our goals for the next, until the end of the year. How do we make some quick progress? And then December 14th, you're going to really write out your goals for 2026 and where you want to be. And you're going to hear from one of my mentors. I think that'll be a nice change of pace. That's actually going to be a 2.5-hour workshop. If you can't come for the whole thing, that's okay. But definitely plan to plug in. There will not be a replay on that. So you will have to watch that live. But I think it will be very beneficial for any of us that can attend that. So with that, I will leave you with figure out what rung you are on with the what you eat, what you think, and what you do. And draw that line in the sand and create some action steps, create some solutions, find those solutions, and start making it happen between now and next Sunday. All right. So I hope everyone has a fantastic Thanksgiving. And just remember, make good choices, but don't deprive yourself. Enjoy yourself. It's one meal. It's not going to throw you all off track, right? So plan for one meal and maybe one additional treat there that will keep you on track. I promise you. So I am wishing you all the success. I will see you back here next Sunday, 7 p.m. And until then, happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you.